For Langley Colonics webinar. I'm Scott Patton, and joining us as usual is the owner of the Fort Langley Colonics, Sofia Reis. Hey Sofia, how are you doing?
Hi Scott, I'm really good, and thank you for having me over.
All right, so last time we talked about colon hydrotherapy and the importance of keeping your digestive tract in good health. What are we going to be talking about today?
Today we're going to just talk a little bit about Candida because it's a huge, big, enormous subject. So we're just going to touch a little bit the surface of Candida, just to give us an understanding. So we will be explaining what is Candida and how you can test it to see if it is in your body and what can you do about it.
Cool. This is actually a great topic because I'm reading a book right now that it's actually a history book about when Columbus came to North America and some of the things that he brought along, and one of them was like different types of germs, and I believe malaria was one. But he ends up talking about malaria, and I didn't realize that the malaria bug is one cell, and then it gets into the bloodstream, and then it gets into a blood cell, and then it multiplies until there are like billions, and then it bursts out of the cell, and I guess it happens in hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of blood cells, and then it totally overwhelms the immune system, and then people are sick, and they're sniffling, and they're, have no energy, and fevers, and chills, and the body is doing everything it can to kill this this parasite, this invader.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me that what we have inside our body is this massive warfare going on between all these little bugs and everything that want to, basically eat us, and our body's natural defense systems. So now you're talking about Candida, and I think, in North America, malaria is probably not a very big problem, but something like Candida certainly is.
Yeah, and the problem too is we actually need some of these microorganisms inside of our body. They if they are in balance, they are our friends if we all work together. The problem, not malaria, but the problem is when they overgrow, when they go out of control, and that's a little bit what can happen with Candida. Candida can be in our body, for example, even to protect us from heavy metals. But when it's too much of anything is too much. And so too much Candida, when it overgrows, it can really become a problem. And as it happened with the malaria, it can really compromise our immune system. And we will feel it more or less depending in our condition and the condition of our organs. But some people can really, really suffer if their body is not healthy and if they don't have strong organs, especially the liver.
Right. So what is Candida?
So Candida is a fungus, and it's a fungus that is inside of us. It can really overgrow and take advantage of our body. And one of the risks with Candida, I used to tell my clients that be aware because Candida is very intelligent. And it's kind of like our ego. Whatever you learn, it learns too.
Yes.
So Candida can pretty much morph and pretend it's part of your body and trick us and get very used to, even if you are doing a cleanse, Candida after a while understands what the cleanse is doing to it and changes and morphs to something different. and
Wow.
then the medicines will not work anymore. So Candida is like, I'm a big believer that fungus are very intelligent beings.
So the goal is not to get rid of all of the fungus. The goal is to just get it to a manageable level.
Yes, exactly. Actually, in some, we are going to talk about that a little later here, but if you have, for example, lots of heavy metals and you start a really rigid Candida cleanse, you can be in danger.
Because you're going to be releasing all the heavy metals back into your body?
Exactly. You're going to have like a huge release of heavy metals at once in your body that in some way they can really shock your body. So we need to have all that in consideration. But we will go a little deeper on that topic in some minutes. I have a slide for that. It's like the apps.
Right.
I have an app for that.
So if we've been exposed to lead or mercury or any of these other industrial metals that may be spewed into the atmosphere, that will help the yeast grow?
Definitely. Actually, I was in the other day with a doctor, a naturopath in North Vancouver that I really like and respect. And he wrote the book Eaten Alive. And one of the things, he told me this story that totally fascinates me. He says one day he was in the airplane and there was this person sit down next to him reading lots of papers, and he keeps seeing the word Candida, Candida, and one of his studies is about Candida, so he starts conversating with this gentleman, and he got to the conclusion he was a mine engineer.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm even more confused. You know, I was here, sit down, and I saw the word Candida in all your papers, and now you tell me what's the relation? Why are you reading about Candida? Do you have Candida? Because all my work is about Candida. And he says, no, we use Candida albicans sometimes actually to extract mercury. Because Candida albicans and mercury, they lash together.
So if you have lots of mercury in your body, the Candida is there almost protecting you from it.
Actually, it's there to protect you from it. And so if that's the case, it's quite dangerous to do a huge Candida cleanse. Like, you can feel horrible. So if that's the case, we need to do it slow and deal with some issues before.
So what you're kind of saying is if you do if the effect of what you have in your body is more Candida than you should have, and the effect of that is being ill or low immune system or low energy, we can't just cut out the Candida without dealing with what's causing the Candida to grow.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And another thing, like, for example, today I had a client coming here and she was saying, my husband is doing all these cleanses and it feels awesome. So I want to do it too, but I read that it's good to come and have a colonics first. And I agree, it is. But then we start talking and I was doing my client interview and I totally disagree that she should start the cleanse right away because she's in a very vulnerable position. She feels ill. She has no energy at all, what can be a result, of course, of Candida. And it is in her case because I saw it during the colonics. But she has a stomach ulcer, and she has other immune system issues in the moment. So first, we're going to need to rebuild her a little bit, so she's strong enough to handle the cleanse. And she was having a little hard time understanding that.
Right.
Because, and you know, I think each person, like I'm my best doctor, you are your best doctor. So I gave her the choice, but in my opinion, we need to build her first, build a little bit her immune system. Of course, we cannot get to a perfect place with the amount of candida that she has, but we need to build her up a little bit, to nourish a little bit her liver so she can handle it. And that's a big mistake if people think they can just suddenly do a candida because they feel horrible and so they want to take out all the toxins and yeast and feel great. They really need to look up at the condition in a moment.
Right.
Because it's hard work, you know. It's like asking you to make a spring cleanse in your house when you are having a cold and you feel horrible. You don't have the same amount of energy to go and move furniture, clean windows. You want to do that when you feel great.
That's right.
And
That's right.
It's the same with your body. You know, you want to do a cleanse when you can handle it.
Cool. So what are some of the other factors that help yeast grow?
The factors that, so one is the heavy metal that we already talked, special mercury. Another one that is really strong is the prescription medication. What is again kind of a vicious circle, and that's what's happened with Candida, and that's why sometimes it's so hard to cure. Lots of people, Candida makes you have a poor immune system. And then you get sick all the time, and then you go to the doctor, and the doctor, for example, prescribes you antibiotics. What the antibiotic is going to do is it's going to whip out the friendly bacteria in your gut. And once you don't have enough friendly bacteria, Candida is in the best environment to grow more and more and more. And they are like bunnies. They see the opportunity and they go for it. And so more Candida grow, more toxins are released to your body, and more weakened the immune system will become. And so, again, you can have more infections. You go again to the doctor, you keep taking things. And so there's lots and lots of medicines that they really, really whip out the friendly bacteria. And so they make a big opportunity for yeast to grow. And then we have also sugars and carbohydrates. Candida lives on sugar. More sugar you eat, more food they have. It's like a big fist. And so, of course, because the yeast is very intelligent, he's going to make you desire sugars, and you got to have them. And so, more sugar you have, more Candida grows. Hormonal changes also can do big growth of Candida, especially in women. It really helps to create the best environment for Candida, the hormonal. Some food allergies too, because the food allergies, you don't digest properly the food, so the food will go to your gut in big chunks. So it's again happy day for Candida. Eating too much acid form foods is the same. And another one could be also a reinfection from a sexual partner. Like if you taking really care of your Candida, you feel great, but your partner is totally infected, you can pass it to you. But again, it passes, and you receive it very well if your immune system is compromised. If your immune system is in a good place and your intestinal flora is very rich, you probably will not get it. Birth control also, because it does some change in your hormonal system, also it's a factor that helps yeast grow. And pregnancy also, because again, it's related with your hormonal change. Steroids the same. Diabetes also, it's really, really, really one of the biggest factors to help yeast grow, because you are very high in sugar. And so again, you have the best environment for Candida to grow. And all these is part of that cycle that we were talking, like the Candida weakens the immune system. And so if your immune system is weak, your door is open to welcome Candida.
And then it just goes around and around and around.
And round and around and around and around. And another very interesting thing is lots of people, they have like serious symptoms in their body of fatigue, you know, depression, anxiety, and they don't notice any Candida. But that's already a consequence of Candida. It's already the Candida compromising your immune system. And sometimes only after some years you get really, really sick. And that's why when Candida is that deep in your body, it's so hard to take care, because there's so many issues involved. And so one of the most common symptoms, and I want to talk a lot about that, because almost all of my clients, when they have a colonic and I see lots of Candida coming out, almost people think that Candida it's only vaginal. And it isn't. Candida actually starts in your gut. So and there's much more symptoms than just vaginal mucus. And one of the most common symptoms is fatigue. So you can feel really tired, and it can become actually chronic fatigue. There are several studies done to people that suffer from chronic fatigue, and when they treat Candida, they feel much better.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and other common symptom is headaches. And you know, the endocrine system and the immune system is very related with your brain. It's a system that it's almost together, and so you will really feel it in your head. And then other common symptoms is in your digestive symptoms, like you can feel really, really bloated. I used to say also to my clients, you know, when I see lots of indigested food coming out, that they are walking around pretty much with a compost bucket in their belly.
Oh. Good way of looking at it.
Yeah, so what happens to your compost bucket, at least mine in the garden, you open and there's this smell of fermented food. So it's all there fermenting, decomposing, and that's the best environment for fungus to grow. They just love it. They are there, hoo, hoo, hoo. They almost can calculate when it's going to come. And so you will feel very bloated because of all the fermentation. It starts compromising also the digestive enzymes in your body, so they start not working. And again, because Candida is so intelligent, even if you take digestive enzymes, I keep telling when we are dealing with Candida, we change digestive enzymes once in a while because Candida morphs and they can figure out things pretty soon. So that's another one. Another one really strong related with digestion is constipation. Very strong constipation can be a very big sign of Candida. Another one that people don't know and they don't relate at all, and it's muscle and joint pain and fibromyalgia. They just keep taking medicines for that. And then we go back to the same cycle. You take tons of painkillers, you really compromise. You compromise the flora. If you whip out the friendly bacteria in your gut. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn off the sound of my phone. Give me 1 minute. And so when you do that, it's very, very, it's like the circle again, and you think that the pain is not related with Candida. Lots of people, they don't even think about it.
I know that they did a study and they found that up to 70% of patients diagnosed with fibromyalgia also had signs and symptoms matching a diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome. So, yeah, it's all kind of related.
Yeah, it's totally related. There's lots of studies where with fibromyalgia, they gave them again, they treat the Candida, and they felt much, much better because their immune system is very compromised. And again, also depression and anxiety. And my English. You need to help me with these words. Depression, anxiety, and nervousness is also because when you are in high stress, your immune system gets compromised. And it's again a cycle. So you get more Candida, you get very irritated, very nervous, and just how it is, because stress induces immune suppression, and emotional induce also immune suppression. And then other thing also is you start getting very sensitive to any chemicals. Like there's some people, they cannot even smell perfumes because your immune system is like a wound animal. It starts reacting to everything. And the sugar cravings we already talked about. You start craving lots of sweets, much more. It's like you gotta have it. And also vinegar, because vinegar is alcohol. So when it's in your body, it breaks down sugar. So suddenly you start really having these huge cravings. And again, these just show how smart Candida is. It actually makes you go and get the food that it wants.
So I was thinking, when we've got these sugar cravings, we're actually doing what we're told to do by the fungus in our body.
Completely. Completely. It's not you. And that's why the first days of the Candida cleanse are hard. And I used to tell people, just take all the sugar out of your home because you're going to want it. But, you know, it's so amazing to see in the end that you don't want it anymore. you don't need it, but you need to pass that first phase like any drug, because sugar is a drug, but it's a drug that is feeding the candida.
I was going to say that sugar addiction is probably the most difficult addiction to overcome.
Yeah, it's the same as heroin, or more difficult even, because, you know, heroin at least has all the social issues associated, and sugar is everywhere. I notice now that I have a totally different diet. I used to be totally crazy about sugar, and because I used to have also lots of heavy metals that I'm still dealing with, I was all the time getting candida. Like, I will heal it and it will come back, because heavy metals, special mercury in your body, is like a magnet to candida. And now when I'm outside and I suddenly want a snack, like, I find really hard to find something that doesn't break down in sugar, because you go out to any coffee shop and the only things they are made with flour.
And sugar.
Flour and sugar, and, you know, but even if it's just flour, it breaks down in sugar. So I would love to see more coffee shops, special around the place I live, with more healthy snacks that don't need to have sugar. Yeah. So, but going fast through these, like, you start having also memory loss, much more food allergies, and skin difficulties, eczema. Other big issue that I notice is weight difficulties. Lots of people, they lose weight really fast, or they have really hard time losing weight. And in my experience with my clients is, if you want to lose weight and you have candida, you can lose in the beginning, but then you stop and you stuck for a long time until you deal with candida. And once you deal with the candida, then it's so much easier for you to go back to a normal weight, because you don't have that little being inside of you crying for sugar and undigested food. Another big issue is a leaky gut. It's also a big symptom, because what happens is the fungal rhizomes, it's almost like a root that penetrates in your gut wall and create roots there. And so that's going to allow the undigested food particles to pass through the intestinal wall and go to your body. And so your body is going to see it as a foreign being that invades the space, and it's going to react to that. And, you know, I see lots of people that go straight, for example, to from a normal diet to raw food without cleansing first, and suddenly they are allergic to lots of things, and that's one of the reasons, because first they need to deal with the candida, to deal with the leaky gut. So that's kind of the most common symptoms. And then I separate a little bit. There's also some symptoms common in children, and like children with constant colds, children, you know, that change moods all the time. They have sleep problems, lots of skin rashes. They are all the time with ear problems. They heal and they have them again, and they heal, they have them again. And they have candida for almost sure. And another one is children that are hyper.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much related with food sensitivities, and also with candida, because food sensitivities and candida, they go very much together. And also attention deficit is very much related with Candida. It will be so much easier to treat them for Candida than give them all these crazy pills that they give them now.
Cool. So that explains a lot about how our children are behaving.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you look in schools in general, kids eat horrible.
Oh, for sure.
Like one of my daughter's very good friend, she's very overweight, and she has all the symptoms of Candida, but she brings McDonald's for her lunch and things like that. So, and my daughter was telling me that she has every day also in her lunch bag candy, like chocolate, so she's loaded in sugar. Yeah, other thing also that we were talking before that it's really, really important is some of the poison effects of Candida. Everybody will feel all these things in a different way because we are all different. And so in some people can show right, it can weaken you right away. For that other persons that have quite a strong immune system and their organs are in good condition, it will take much longer. So it really depends in the person's body type, and the blood type also takes it in a different way. I recommend when people are doing the Candida cleanse, special, not a small amount, but if the Candida already really overgrow in your body and it's kind of chronic, I advise you to eat at least for 1 year for your blood type, because then it's much easier to fight the Candida. And also, like we talked before, if your organs are weak, then your symptoms can be very different.
So someone might have a weak organ that's the liver, and somebody else might have a weak organ that's, say, the kidney. And so the results, their symptoms might be different, even though it's the same cause.
Exactly. Exactly. And also the way the body is going to fight it will be very different, because the way we will eliminate toxins is, number one, is through your colon. But then you also eliminate through your kidneys. You eliminate through your skin, your lungs. And you also use your lymphatic system for elimination. And so your glands need also to be working properly for all these to work in balance. So if one of them is weak, the symptoms, they're going to show up in different ways. And also the heavy metals, they will behave in different ways. Like you can have heavy metals, but then it depends in the amount that you have and where they are located in your body. They will give you different symptoms. And when you are doing a big cleanse, if they start being a little bit released, the symptoms depend where they are. So I took this picture from a book that I love, and I highly recommend for people if they have yeast, that it's called the Yeast Connection Handbook. And it's a very not expensive book. I think it costs $17, around that. And it's from Dr. William Crook. And it's the Yeast Connection Handbook. And it's a fantastic book. It has lots of drawings. Explains very well everything. Like, I really, really, really like it. And so one of the things that it says is, if you have Candida, we need to consider other causes. And it says you can be like a overloaded camel. You are overloaded. So that I on the top. Are you there? Hello?
We're back. I think we just had a little
Hello?
internet glitch. Hello?
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
lost you.
So so we've got the camel with the straw that broke the camel's back, which means we've got all these different things that are maybe making it hard on us, and then finally we get the one that just causes the crash, right?
Mm-hmm. So sometimes Candida can be also a manifestation of other deep-rooted health difficulties. So we need to look to all that. Hello?
Hi.
Okay, now you're there. Now I'm afraid to lose you. And that's why Candida can be a very long process. And sometimes to heal Candida, if it's really chronic, it can take months or even a year or two, because it can be associated with lots of other things that we need to take in consideration. Like your level of nutrition deficient, what's your diet, if you're home and you are exposed to lots of chemicals, like one of the number one things that I tell people is remove all the chemicals possible out of your home, because it's a major issue and it really compromises your immune system. And it's amazing because people they are all concerned about pollution, but some of the people really concerned with pollution, you go inside of their houses and it's more polluted than outside. They spray chemicals everywhere in their house. They are just not aware how horrible that is for their health.
And we do things like plugging in air fresheners into the sockets so that they heat up and they send these scents throughout the whole home.
Yeah, and that's horrible for your health, and it really compromises your immune system, and they are packed with toxins. They are really, really bad. Another thing that people also don't take in consideration is lots of people live in houses packed with yeast and mold. That's very toxic, and of course is the best environment for yeast to grow, but it's a contamination source. So we need to look around all that things also to deal with Candida. We need to unpack the camel and make it lighter, so then we can start cleaning. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easy to pick one thing and go after it, but then that may not be the thing that's causing the problem.
No, because almost people come here and they just want to do a cleanse, and then they are like, but this is not working, and they don't want to do anything else. They don't want to commit. They are just interested in taking out the Candida. And I just joke and I'm like, if I was Mrs. Miracle, I will be with a lineup till the end of the street, because I will send this miracle remedy and you need to do nothing. But no, it is a commitment, and it doesn't work sometimes just with a cleanse. In some people, yes, if you get it in time. With others, needs to be a longer time commitment. And one of the major issues in that commitment, like the goal number one, is really to achieve an excellent digestion, so you can assimilate very, very, very well to your food to grow. Really, really important dealing with it. That of Candida, and if you suffer from chronic Candida, it's really, really important that first to remove from your body the heavy metals with the help of, if you feel very, very exhausted during a Candida cleanse, for almost sure you have heavy metals releasing out of your body. And so it's really important to do a colon cleanse at the same time and to support your liver along, so you can handle it without horrible symptoms and pain. and you're not actually damaging your body. So, like I said before, it's really, really important that you only take a Candida cleanse if you have sufficient liver energy to proceed, because there's going to be lots of toxins dying inside of your body, because the only way to kill Candida is starving it. So you're not going to feed sugars to the Candida, and you're going to eat more alkaline foods, and you're going to take cleanses to make it weak. But when you do that, you're going to have lots of little dead beings inside of you, dead Candida, and so you're going to have die-off toxins in your body. So I really recommend people, if they want to do the cleanse, to do it in the spring, the Candida one. So it's for Chinese medicine, spring is the liver season. So it's a time that the liver is more awake and stronger in energy.
Because it puts a lot of pressure on the liver when you've got all these toxins that are trying to get out of your body, right?
Yeah, it's a really hard work for your liver to try to do all this work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you certainly given me a whole different idea on a cleanse.
Yeah. And this is from the book from Dr. Crooks. I really like this test because it's something you can do at home, and it's just a questionnaire where you can have an idea if you have Candida or not. And so there's some points here. So one of the things is if you have taken prolonged antibacterial or antibiotic drugs, if the answer is yes, that gives you 4 points. So there's several points here. The scoring is a little different for men and women. And I highly recommend you to do this at home, because it will give you an idea if you have Candida or not. Another way that is really, really, really simple is just in the morning, use a clear glass of water. And you just, you know, when you are kids and you put lots of spit in your mouth?
Yeah.
I don't know if you used to do that. I used to do that with my sisters to make contests and see who will spit further. So you kind of do that. You put lots of spit in your mouth, and then you spit it inside of a clean glass of water. And as you see here in the image, if it does lots of strings, you have Candida for almost sure. And if it sinks in the bottom, you maybe have Candida concerns, but the strings are for 100% sure Candida. And so a healthy saliva will simply float on the top. Did you ever do this test?
No, I'm going to try it tomorrow morning. I'm sure mine will just be nice and healthy on the top.
I hope so. Yeah, so that's something really easy to do it at home. And you can check yourself if you have Candida. So the ways to eradicate Candida, the number one is really no sugar. And so there's several steps. I put here 4 steps. And there's also a really good website that I love for Candida. She talks and she has some blogs written, and her name is Hannah Kruger. I really resonate with everything she says and she writes. And so these are her 4 steps, and I really like. And so the step number 1 is really eat a diet rich in vegetables with good source of protein and avoid offending foods. So pretty much when you are in a Candida diet, you're going to be pretty much in protein and vegetables. And you can take some supplements if you want and need to be more nourished. Then step number 2 is begin taking yeast killers. So you can, and all at the same time, liver remedies and do colonics. And we already talked about that. So it's very important to take something to support your liver, because your liver is going to be working really, really, really hard. It's cleaning your body from the inside out in a really hard way. And the colonics are also very important because you don't want to keep that toxins for too long inside. You want them like release out, release out. So that's very important. And the step number 3 that is really, really important is to take probiotics of really high, good quality, because you need to colonize the intestinal tract with new flora. So what you want to do is you want to put really good flora. The more good bacteria you have in your gut, less possibilities to survive the Candida will have. So it's very important to have really good, high-quality probiotics and high-quality yogurt. Lots of my clients ask me, because now there's this fashion that everything has probiotics, so there's lots of yogurts out there that are not organic with probiotics. But in my opinion, they have very little probiotics. They are loaded with sugar and corn starch. So the benefits are really, really low. So I recommend to have 2.5% yogurt and organic, because organic is done with natural culture. And the step number 4 is restore your body, your glands, your tissues, your organs, all needs to be restored. And you need to keep doing the step 1 and 3. You need to keep, like, it's a long-term commitment to take the acidophils, and it's a long-term commitment to do the diet and colonics. You were going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, when you say restore your body and your organs, how do you do that?
So if you have hormonal imbalance, I will recommend you to go see a naturopath and take care of that.
Ah, I see. So okay. Identify the issues that you've got and work on those issues.
Identify the issues that are unbalanced and balance them are really, really important, because, you know, if your immune system is compromised for a long time, for almost sure your thyroid is highly compromised. And so if your thyroid will start malfunction, and then it's like the Candida becomes locked, and the symptoms becomes they go up and down, and you can be confused. But for almost sure your thyroid, if your immune system is highly compromised, your thyroid is compromised. If you have really high stress, your adrenalines are compromised, so your level of cortisol will be compromised. If your level of cortisol are compromised, again, your thyroid in the long run will be also compromised. So we need to figure out what went out of whack and balance it again. And if your liver also is very weak, we're going to need to support your liver. but I'm not a doctor. I'm a colon hydrotherapist. I can see lots of the symptoms and guide my clients to go see a naturopath, and I bring to their attention some issues.
Wonderful.
It's like a puzzle, you know. All the pieces need to be in the right place to work.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I call it a long-term commitment to get rid of Candida. It's not just a simple 3-day thing. It's a commitment. And so I put here also, I believe that the steps to claim your health back, the number one is believe in yourself. Like, you need to believe that you are capable. You need to believe you deserve it. Because almost people are, oh, that's too difficult. Or like today, one of my clients was telling me, oh, you know, French fries are my best friend. And I was thinking inside of my head, oh my God. And so like yourself, like you are worth it. And just visualize your body and yourself full of health and running, how that feels. To me, it feels great. So I want to get there. And the other is kind of like you need to take charge, because you cannot just keep taking tons of medicines because you feel tired. You cannot take things to wake up, things to go sleep, painkillers, antibiotics for everything. You need to learn. You need to take charge, read books, search in the internet, control the chemical exposure, especially in your house. Change your diet, eat healthier, and take yeast control medication. Exercise is really important. One of the best things you can do, or we can do, is actually go up in a trampoline, because the trampoline, the bouncer, it will make all your lymphatic system move and circulate, and that's really awesome for your immune system. And change your lifestyle. It's really, really good. And, you know, I used to say, when people start doing, for example, colonics, and they start doing cleanses to your body, they start being so much more aware. And when they start getting aware, they feel like anytime they eat something that doesn't agree very well with their body, they feel it right away. They know exactly what they eat and when they feel bad, because they don't have all the load of the camel to confuse them. So it's much easier to be aware of exactly what disturbs your body. So your mind and body start being very connected. And positive thoughts are also very, very important. And one of the things I highly recommend too is that one of the big steps is to identify your food sensitivities. I normally ask my clients to have a calendar where they write what they eat every day and how they felt. And once you do the Candida cleanse and you go for a long time in the Candida diet, you need to start incorporating really slow the foods that normally create more allergies, and do like a 4-day rotation, so you're really aware of what disturbs you, and then just don't eat that, because you're going to have really hard time digesting it, and it goes to your compost bucket. So we don't want that. This last slide to me is just my fun.
I think it's a great slide.
I used to say that Candida is like bunnies. You give them an opportunity and they just multiply. And multiply and multiply. So lots of people, they do a huge commitment and they do the effort to go through the cleanse. It's a big commitment. So they do everything and then suddenly they go to a birthday party after like 3 weeks of a cleanse and they can't resist the birthday cake, or they cannot say no to the hosts, and they eat it. And I used to say, congratulations, your yeast is now alive and reproducing again. So you're now back to day one in the Candida diet.
Yeah, that's the bad news, eh?
Yeah, you know, one of my clients, she had a really big chronic Candida. So she used to have a big rash in her arm. That was, when she came to see me, the rash will not even disappear anymore. And it was a big size, like that. I'm talking like around 5 centimeters diameter. And sooner I looked to her arm, I told her, you know, that's yeast. And when yeast starts showing up in your skin, it's already all over your body for almost sure.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, no, the doctor says it's eczema, and he gave me this cream, and she's putting the cream, and what the cream does is for a little while it gives you release, but then it keeps showing up, and it keeps coming back because you need to deal with the source. And we start doing a Candida program, and she was like, oh my God, how much longer, how much longer? And we were already, she was doing the Candida diet already for 3 months. And I told her, you need to do it for much longer. Your Candida is really chronic. She went a weekend with her sweethearts. And of course, she had lots of red wine. She says yeah, and all her eczema at this point was pretty much gone. The day after was all back. But it was a bad thing, but in my opinion, very good too, because I believe she was getting really not believing what she was doing and not sure if, and you know, your ego finds all ways to give an excuse to stop what is hard to do than to go back to the old patterns. So like that, the eczema showed so strong again in her arm that for her, she really saw it.
There was no doubt.
Yeah, there was no doubt that it was the yeast. And she's been now for almost 1 year doing eating for her blood type and doing really, I will say, a little bit rigid diet in her case because it was really bad. But she feels huge energy. There's no eczema. All her allergies are gone.
Wow.
She told me actually some weeks ago that she doesn't have a cold for a long time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's walking, she's running again, and the doctor used to say that also she suffers from fibromyalgia. She has no symptoms of whatsoever anymore.
Wonderful. That's a great story, Sofia.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you're interested in knowing more about how you can deal with Candida or your digestive disorders or even anything else to do with your health, you can get a hold of Sofia at www.langleycolonics.com or give her a call at the number on the screen. And I would also encourage you to sign up for her newsletter that she puts out, and she'll let you know when we do other webinars and other things that are of interest. I know that you're going to be involved in a lot of raw food type events, and I'm really excited about that because who knew raw food could taste so good?
I know, it's so exciting. I used to tell my friends, there's no way I will never go raw, because my idea of raw was just eating carrot sticks and celery
Yeah.
and salads. And my friend, Teresa Holman, she just came back from New York. She went there to take a raw food chef course. And she's been really inspiring me and teaching me how to, I wouldn't say cook, I don't know, prepare lots of raw food recipes. And I'm so excited. I'm loving it, and I'm incorporating each time more in my diet. And we connect also with Dr. Raw Food, and he's going to help us to create a Friday free movie night. So each last Friday of the month, we're going to be in Langley offering free movie nights, teaching people how to do green smoothies. There will be also some food recipes. Normally, we Skype in the end of the movies with the people in the movies. And there will be like a question and answering. So one of the movies, the next one is really exciting. It's called Average Joe on the Raw. It's a really funny movie. It's this guy that tried to eat for a while just the common American diet, lots of pizza and burgers, etc. Then he did some blood tests, and the results were horrible, especially his testosterone levels were really low, so his sex drive was very low. And he took the challenge to go 60 days in a raw diet, and we're going to see his journey. And
wow.
It's really funny, because first he's really excited, then when he gets to the point of cleansing his body, he wants to give up. And it's really interesting to see what makes him go. And then he also went to meet one of the raw gurus, and he's very fit. He's actually a really hot man. And he couldn't believe that he had that body, and he was on raw food, so he's going to learn how to be fit. So it's a really, really interesting movie. And we also, at that Friday, we give people, the persons that are coming, the opportunity to buy organic produce.
Well, and they are raw.
Yeah, at the wholesale sale price. So there's no more excuse not to eat organic. You're going to have an opportunity to buy them really, really at a good price.
Wonderful.
And you can register for my newsletter and webinars at my website, www.fortlangleycolonics.com, or in my Facebook page, what is Fort Langley Colonics also. And it was a pleasure to be here. I had fun. I'm always scared to talk for so long, because when I think so much better in Portuguese, but yeah, I need to practice more times.
That's right. So I'm going to unmute all of our listeners, and if anyone has a question, feel free to ask it. And we'll say going once, going twice. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. We're going to have another one in a month, actually. What's the date of that, Sofia?
Well, let me see. It's May 25.
Okay, it'll be the same time. So you'll be able to find the link to register either on Fort Langley
May 24.
May 24th. So fortlangleycolonics.com will have the link, and or the Facebook page will have the link. So And if you've got any questions, make sure you call or email them in, or make a comment on the Facebook page, and we'd be happy to answer them. And also, we'd like to answer them in our next webinar as well. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.